Thanks, Chair. So let's start with the motions without notice phrasing. It seems to me the original idea, and Karen can confirm this, but in the old rule, the rule that we are amending, a motion without notice must have the prospect of being adopted, or it must have the prospect of a decision. That is a numbers game by and large. So we don't need to use these phrases. We can be direct about it. Because the rule before this 9th edition, if you recall, you would have to oppose it in the House itself. There was no prior mechanism. Then we introduced this prior mechanism by 10 o'clock, and then if the parties say no, blah, blah, blah. But in that mechanism, what you are really doing is testing the a priori. It's bad, but it's okay. I mean, we did that even then. We totally disagree. But you are trying to have a numbers game. So you're testing whether the motion will have the prospect of a decision. So I would say be direct that parties representing, at least don't make the rule for now. You might have parliament that is hung by 10% across the board. You might have parliament that is hung by a different number than what we have now. So parties, I would say, if that is the case, if we agree about that, then we say parties representing majority or 50% of the National Assembly. So either we use, on the condition we have fixed, we did, I think we did, we agreed what majority means in the definitions. So actually we can use majority. Parties representing a majority. So if it's 5 parties, but they don't constitute a majority, it's unfair. So you might have 5 parties, together they constitute 5% because they have 1% each. And then the motion falls apart because then you're not achieving the objective of testing its prospect. So here you are being too verbose. At least 5 parties, including the largest and the second largest, just to arrive at a thing that says parties representing the majority of the National Assembly. So I would say phrase it like that. That is my my proposal. Otherwise, the section 89 panel new proposal, it's actually very fine for that extension to be granted. We are fine with that, including those things of removing members of parliament. Must state our objection there. They are wrong, those things of removing members of parliament. I can't remember. And then the last one is the content of section 89. It's not part of what is referred to us. So we're a subcommittee. We don't actually deal with matters that don't come from the Rules Committee. So where the proposal should go is to the Rules Committee as to whether we are still going to canvass the amendment of the rule itself. It will be repeating because this proposal was suppressed by the ANC in the last term. And then 2, the DA was with us. I don't know now. This DA of yours, now they may be on the other side. But I agree 100% with Honorable Mani. Fortunately, it's in the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court will, I think in that ruling, come back with the fact that part of what is not rational is saying that somebody has a prima facie case to answer, and then say people must vote whether he must answer that or not. This is travesty of justice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ndlozi. Honorable Ghana.
Thank you very much. So in terms of, let me start at the end. I think the intention of the Section 89, it's a question of a time frame, not so much what will have happened with a particular case. And I think it's a fair way of handling it, in that should the matters that are before the Section 89 maybe at the first instance people thought that it's could be done in 3 months, but it's not done, then those powers to extend are then given to the assembly as a whole, and not just for the speaker to use Rule 6 to keep on extending that period. I think that's a right way to deal with it. So the speaker has got one bite, and then after that, it's up to the assembly to deal with that. So that one, it's fully agreed, at least from my side. And also on I don't see anything particularly wrong with on the removal question. I think the motions without notice, it's more the practicality and the timings. So the practicality and the timing. So if you look at the rule from the top in terms of the timings, so a member or a party submits by 10 o'clock, and then the circulations happen by 11 o'clock, and then the parties indicate 30 minutes before, and by that time, let's say a member was under the impression that they can read out the motion, but then as the sitting starts, they're told that no, actually your motion has been objected to, and that's where the practicality comes in. It's not so much in how we phrase the amendment to 123(2)D Roman figure 4, but in terms of how do we effect it in practice? How do we effect it in practice? Because for me, especially if you read that in case, let's say in the sitting, one member stands up and says, we object, the motion falls away. And now the question is, this role, its effect in changing how the motions without notice are handled is very minimal, if it exists at all. And that's what we need to think about, because if you have a situation wherein, let's say it's myself as Rising Suns, giving an example, that let me not use MK, let me use the ANC, reads a motion that I don't agree, then I'm not part of the 5. So when I submit to say I object to this, then I'm told that you are the only one who objects. Therefore, I get into the house and object. So the effectiveness of the rule itself comes into question, whether the rule can really be applied. It's one of those nice to have, but in practice, it hasn't been effected. And that for me, it's neither here nor there, because a member can object in the sitting. So the technical nature does not assist much. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ghana. Honorable Michalaikis.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Ndlozi's argument on Rule 123 makes a lot of sense. I think he should be representing the official opposition, but maybe if we give him enough time, he soon will. Chairperson, but I am happy with all 3 of the proposals. They make a lot of sense, and I am amenable to considering the proposal that was made over there. The member is right that it is a numbers game, but I'm also quite happy for it to go through as the proposal that's been been proposed to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Michalaikis. Honorable Mahlaule.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chief Whip. Look, I also don't have issues with the first one, because to me, whether you
This proposal on the assessment of the quality of the question still outlines a process that is too long. And meaning you are not achieving the objective. We need a situation where the speaker makes a ruling that, and then you know, all we do is give the scope or the criterion that allows, in as minimum a way as possible, for an immediate determination of the quality of the answer. And in my view, we need an on-spot that, Minister, you are not answering the question. I'm ruling that you're not answering the question that is being asked. I'll give you an example. You ask about let's say the president is answering a question on Palestine. You ask the question about, this is a question about Palestine, Israel. And the president talks about Ukraine and says nothing about Israel, nothing about Palestine. The speaker must be able to say the president is out of order on the spot. That's the hope. That's what we're hoping for. Because the frustration comes out of you standing and saying, the minister is not answering the question. I can be ruled out of order if the matter of debate or the matter of discussion has been determined. And myself, I go, there is a rule that says you are out of this speaking regime, or that's what we need. That's the mechanism in my view. It seems to me that we may have to draft these things ourselves, you see. Because Kazo and them, they are not helping. This one is bad. I come to the hope as well with the question and answer session. For me, it has less to do with the time, but more to do with aggressively getting these people to be answerable. A rigorous process of holding them accountable, where we, and scope are there. Imagine a scope session with prepared prior questions that you're going to answer a question, Minister, on unemployment or on a specific audit outcome, whatever. He comes with a prepared answer, but we're able to get as qualitative an accountability out of him as possible. I'm really attracted to this interpolation question. In psycho, in Marxism, interpolation is a very interesting concept, actually. The element of, how should I put it, of surprise is at the core of this thing. That's what you need to revive. So the honorable member is correct. We must make a rule for inconsistent to what was the practice before COVID. Because this was about online engagements. You need that element of surprise, of like the minister not always reading, and possibly also members of parliament not always reading. That's number one. But I'm interested in the question and answer session completely becoming something like an interpolation. Before I saw this interpolation arrangement, my idea was, if possible, there are not decisions being taken. in the National Assembly during questions, unless after, we do the rest of the other business. But normally the Wednesday gets given to question and answer. If possible, you can have 2-3 mini plenaries to interrogate, to get quality time with these people on the questions. And then you may have them as frequently as possible. Of a cabinet. The next president can appoint 100 ministers. What are you going to do? It's really less to do with quality time as in quality oversight. So if we can develop this interpolation and keep in mind, I would persuade all of us, keep in mind that Wednesday's National Assembly doesn't really need to take any resolutions. You can capitalize on breaking it into 3-4 sessions. But the qualitative interrogation must be in line with this interpolation idea. So I'm saying let's not have question and answer and then have interpolation separately. Question and answer must take the form of an interpolation altogether, so that there's maximum interrogation of, we already have debates and all of that, but if the question and answer session were to be like this, it would be really useful. I think those are my comments. I completely disagree with the proposal on the document called Quality of Executive Replies to Parliamentary Questions. I wonder if we could extend this to written replies as well. I know it was not, I think, Chair, you would not be opposed to the idea of quality answers being extended to all questions. I know we're always only thinking about oral replies, but there is also an issue of quality replies to written replies. I wonder if one can evoke the same rule to say, Speaker, I've got a written reply here. Can you rule that the minister has not properly answered the question? They must re-answer in a proper way. I think that would also extend or help us with this whole idea of quality replies. My respectful submission is that let's take this interpolation, develop a question and answer session on its framework, and think about breaking as well, because we've got too many ministers, breaking sometimes the House into 2 sessions or into 3 mini sessions, and then interpolate these people. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Honorable Ndlozi. Who was next? Was it Honorable Makubela?
Thank you, Chair. We are inclined to support the proposal 1 with option 2 that speaks to 3 hours, a 3-hour session. But I think an emphasis has to be made to the sequencing and the opportunity that ministers within that cluster are afforded to answer. If it's perhaps maybe, for example, cluster 3 with 5 ministers, before a minister gets a second chance, we must have exhausted the entire sequencing of ministers, so that we avoid the system that a minister will get 2 or 3 opportunities without the one getting an opportunity to answer. So I think we have to now put it into rules that all ministers must be afforded an opportunity for answer before the round goes to the next, and we stick to the 3 hours. I think the 3 minutes is sufficient for the first reply, and then the 2 minutes into this, the supplementary questions. Mr. Klaso, well, currently, perhaps maybe if you could tell us on the second submission, which is the quality of questions, to say currently the mechanism that the speaker has, if I must be corrected, is that she writes to the leader of government business to indicate that the quality of questions, if there is that mechanism currently. Maybe if we can expand this one, because I think the proposal that the speaker writes to the rules or sub-rules committee to on the quality of questions will take long. It's going to take long. By the time you send a response to the minister, perhaps you could correct, but it's a long process. Maybe if you can expand on the mechanism that we have now and what are the inadequacies of the mechanism that we have now, and then look into maybe reworking the system or the proposal for now. And on interpellations, I think we need to further expand this proposal so that we can see whether it will achieve the desired outcome, because we do have the question and answer session right now. If we are to add, because interpellations is more also just on the spot questions to the ministers. Perhaps let's look into have the current mini plenaries debate with some form of questions to the ministers, but expand on what you are presenting to us now. Thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Makubela. Honorable members, before I come to you, Honorable, I've noted, hence I'll come to all of you. Honorable members, before I come to you, Honorable Manye, lunch is ready outside. You can grab something to eat and come back to the meeting. It will be a working lunch. Thank you very much. Honorable Manye, because it's a concern to all of us, and we are sitting here, we want to get quality responses from our members of the executive. Honorable Ndlozi, I want to step off this, but you may come in.
No. Just on the last aspect of quality replies, yes. There's no reason why we can't have both. There's no reason why we can't have a rule. The same way we have rules about debates, where if you are out of topic, you can be ruled out of order. So we can have a rule that we establish, we write it as broadly as possible. Not yes or no, all those things, but a minister can come and go off topic, reply for the sake of replying, and then they get off. We'll see them when the assessment comes. I'm saying there's no reason why we can't have both. We can't have a rule that where you say, Speaker, the minister is not dealing with the question, and then the speaker is able to say, in terms of this rule, you are not in the parameters of the question. I'm not really asking you to say we must have a rule about the expectation of a specific outcome, but a paradigm of some sort. Because what we are having at the moment is that a person can really just reply, and then the speaker says, I can't force them to stay on topic. I can't force them to, I think when it comes to questions and answers, that's important, because that one is about those things of speeches, the rule about being out of order when we're debating. Let's extend that to questions. That's my request. And it will deal, you will see, with the frustration we feel when ministers just waffle for the sake of speaking And they do that a lot, particularly these new ones of the DA.
Honorable members.
I'm kidding.
Okay, Honorable Ndlozi, Mr. Klaso want to ask a question of clarity.
So to check, Honorable Ndlozi, if you look at point 5 of the document on quality of replies, point 5, yeah, where it says that in 2021, the Rules Committee said that ministers are expected to answer the specific points contained in a question. Will that address your concern?
Must be a rule that this is perfect.
It has the effect of a rule. It's a guideline. It's a formal guideline of the Rules Committee.
Then I've completely missed this because I thought the proposal starts at 6. Yeah, I'm rejecting 6. I'm saying I need a rule that allows an immediate intervention during the question and answer session. And I agree, it can say this,
Okay,
such a rule, yeah.
thank you very much. Honorable Dagmo, I really want to step off this item.
I think, Chair, the fact that Honorable Ndlozi has been persuaded with more information, I think sort of covers my point. And I mean, in extreme circumstances, if we use the existing rule on irrelevance or repetition, which is a point of order rule, where a member might actually feel this minister is totally off track, you know? So I think, but given that clarity around that ATC of 2021, I think that helps. So I'm going to leave it there.